Hi, good morning. This is Allie Gould from Pacific Art League. Thank you for joining today's Coffee Connections. I'm excited to introduce Colleen Gianatiempo. Colleen is an artist and instructor and is teaching at PAL this fall. We are really excited to have her, and she's teaching several classes, and I thought it'd be fun to have Colleen come and talk about her classes and maybe give us a demo or two. Hi, Colleen, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me for coffee. I have tea and my favorite mug. Sorry about the swear.
We'll blur it out.
So anyway, thank you for joining me. A little bit about myself. I live in the East Bay of San Francisco in a town called Martinez. No one's ever heard of it, but it's pretty close to Walnut Creek. And I am a master of fine art and non-figurative abstract painting. I also studied watercolor for 15 years on my own. And I'm passionate about all kinds of art. I love to draw. I love to paint. I love to do printmaking, and I love color. And so I try to incorporate all these things in my class lineup. And I thought it'd be super fun today if I demoed a couple things and then also showed you just a couple of samples of what kind of things you'll create in my classes. So I'll give you a little bit better idea of maybe something that will spark your interest or spark your creativity. So first I'd like to talk about my monoprint class, and I'm going to do a little demo. Okay.
So Colleen, let me know if you want me to highlight your, I can spotlight your palette.
Let's spotlight my palette.
Yeah, or your workspace. Yeah. Okay. So replace spotlight.
Okay, great. So in this monoprinting workshop, you can monoprint in more than one way, and we will be doing that using a baking pan, plexiglass. This is a gelatin printing plate. I'm going to demonstrate this. We're going to do some lino cuts and other kind of printmaking techniques that don't require a press, which really interests me because I don't have a press. So this is a gelatin printing plate, and I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick demo on this. This plate is so exciting. It can do so many amazing things. But just to start, I'm going to put some acrylic paint out, and I have a brayer, and this brayer is rubber, and you can tell it's well loved. Look how much paint is all over it. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull a print so you can kind of get an idea what you can do with this. And I'll do a couple of things to this, but for now I'm just getting a background. And one of the cool things I'll teach you about, like, what's the right amount of paint. You can see I didn't put a lot of paint down. And then this goes very quickly. Uh-oh, where's my paper? I'm using these deli sheets. So these are just really thin papers. I like them because I can collage. So I'm going to go ahead and just rub, and I'm going to pull a print. Okay, that's what this is called, pulling a print. So there I have yellow paper instantaneously, right? Isn't that cool? I'm going to set that aside and let that dry a little bit. And I still have paint on here. So I'm going to do a second printing, which is called a ghost print. I'm going to go ahead and do a ghost print and see if I can get some of that paint off of there. It's kind of cool that the paper wrinkled. Now, if I let it sit too long, it will stick. So it kind of cleaned off my palette, and look at, I have a really beautiful textured print there. Really like it. So ways to clean my brayer. So this deli paper I'm talking about is right here. I always have sheets here to kind of clean my brayer, especially if I want to, my brayer just broke. If I want to just clean it off, and then those sheets end up looking really cool. So I'm going to do another technique here. I'm going to use a stencil this time, and I'm going to put a different color down so I can print on top of what I already have. So I'm going to put a little bit of acrylic paint. Now this paint is from Walmart, apple barrel paint. I really like it. It really likes the press. So this time I'm going to put a stencil down. And what I should have been more mindful about, but it's okay, it's just a demo, is maybe it's not too late, taking some of this paint off here. So if I want a star, I'm going to go ahead and press here. And get a little print going here. Lift that up, see what I get. There you go, right? And now the cool thing is I can lift this up and I have this image here still that I can print on. I'm going to do it on this. Go ahead and rub. And now we got this really interesting star like ghost print. Isn't that pretty? Now I still have an image on here and I can go ahead and reactivate that and see what happens. I'm going to put some yellow on top of that and see if I can activate that. There's a little bit of the star still on there. I'm going to see if I can pull that nice and thin. Oops. Cleaning the brayer. Broke again. You need a new brayer, everybody. Okay, I'm gonna pull a print here and see what I got. So this monoprint class, you will learn so many techniques, resists, and I'm going to show you a mask, and there's just so many. It's endless hours of creativity. You can see a very faint star there. And I still have paint down, so let's do one more thing. I'll do some stamping. I have this stamp here. I'm going to roll out, I'm going to put some blue and yellow and kind of let them mix on here. I'm going to roll. I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Now, this jelly plate is 8 by 10, I believe. They come now in 16 by 20. I have jelly envy.
Where do you buy them, Colleen?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, they only had them at art stores, but now they have them all online.
How long will a plate last you?
Forever.
Yeah.
So I'm off printing onto this paper here. Yeah, they last a long time. You can tell mine is well loved. I hardly ever clean it. It's just, it gets better with age. So it's really cool. I've had mine probably maybe like 8 years. And I have new ones and I don't like it. So I'm taking this print here, and you can't see, but I'm printing on this paper off. I'm cleaning the stamp on there. So now I'm going to have a couple cool pieces of paper. And it's really endless what you can do. Just to show you, I'm going to make a mark over here. Just for fun. I'm going to go ahead and print this. You can use any kind of paper. I like copy paper the best because it collages well. I make, this is how I make collage paper for my paintings. So there we go. Very nice, very subtle. I'm going to try to get one more print out of this. So I'm going to reactivate it and see what I get. And just for fun, I have a mask that I made. It's not the kind of mask like Halloween where you're disguising yourself, but it's a mask where you kind of block out an area. And this is just part of a chick from a magazine. And I will teach you how to do this. This is lamination paper. So I can just wipe her clean and she's good to go whenever I want to use her. Go ahead and print. And we'll get a couple of things going on here. we get a nice print of a mask. So we masked out an area, right? So we get a figurative
Cool.
lady here. And now if we lift her up, you may get a print. I'm going to press her on my little off piece of paper. Let's see. We get a little print just from printing the paint. It's very subtle. And now I don't want this to dry, so I got to work quick. So I'm going to go ahead and get a print of this. So just from that one mask, I got 3 little prints. Oops, I let it sit too long. Sometimes you got to really be quick. So there you have it. It's kind of like a really subtle little outline.
That's so cool.
Isn't it fun? And I'll just show quickly, I'm going to grab a painting that I just finished using the same mask. So my camera doesn't go up any higher, but I'm going to go ahead and put this under. Hold on. So you can kind of see how these pieces from monoprinting can be used. You can't see this entire painting, but
Oh, cool.
there's one of the masks in part of a painting. So
And is that like a collage? So you've integrated those pieces and then painted over it or underneath it, and both?
yeah, it's collage and paint.
Very cool.
Yeah. So they're very fun to use for all different things. But like you can make a whole set of monoprints, you know, and just have them be frameable art. You can use all kinds of paper, you know. It's really limitless. So look at, in just a few minutes, you guys, all these prints we made. And what's great about them, they all belong to one another. They're all, you know, the same color family. So if you're collaging with them, or maybe making a set of prints that you're going to sell or whatever, or frame, they all kind of belong to one another, right?
What's the most unusual thing you've put onto the jelly plate?
Ah, bones. Yes, I have bones that I like to print on here.
So do you press the bones onto the jelly plate?
Yep.
And it creates like an imprint, and then you paint, then you put the paint on top.
Yeah. Yep. It creates like a little shape.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, you can do anything. The other thing too that works really well is things in nature, leaves, and even furry things like feathers, and it's really limitless. So so that's my monoprint class. It's going to be so much fun, and I'm really excited about it. And you'll learn so many techniques. And then I wanted to go over, I'm going to demonstrate my Water Mania class, but first I want to talk about one of my classes, planning and painting a series. Mm-hmm. So I get this a lot with, let me just get this out of the way. With students, they want to do a series, they don't know how. So I walk you through concept development, finding your voice. We talk about everything that's important in a series and help you develop it. And this is just some of my work and sketches and thinking in a series that I have available to show you. But what you'll go through in this course is, from concept to completion. And, maybe 4 to 5 pieces you'll finish. So that's that class. And you do a lot of writing and soul searching, and you write an artist statement as well. And color workout, one of my favorite. So I have 2 courses in color. One is learn to use color. That's very basic from the beginning, which you'll make a color wheel. You'll mix all these colors and you'll get really good at, a tertiary triad. Go ahead and paint that. And now if I said that to you, you might be like, what are you talking about? But once you mix all these colors, you'll become very good at knowing schemes and things like that. And then the workout part is, I have some students that already taken the learn to use color, and but I can have beginners in all my classes and I'll make it work. But you're gonna work and you're gonna make little compositions like this is a tertiary triad. Here's another tertiary triad. You're gonna learn what, YG is yellow, green, BV, blue, violet, red, orange, and why these colors work together, right? You're gonna learn how to mix tints, tones, and shades. And you're going to learn how to make different colors and different values. And so the value scale you're going to learn. We're going to talk.
Is this an acrylic?
We work in gouache
yeah.
in the beginning when you're color mixing, just because the pigments are really powerful, and they don't, like if you're working in acrylic and you're mixing colors, they can dry.
Yeah.
So I recommend the gouache, but in the color workout class, you can work in any medium you want.
Well, what's so important about this is that, a lot of beginner artists kind of skip over this.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that from experience, like myself. I'm like, oh, I remember this from when I was little, how to mix paints. But then you kind of, I'll work on a painting and I realize the colors just don't work together and I get frustrated. And it's because I haven't learned these basics.
Yeah, and there's so much to it. I mean, look at this stack of work that you do in one of my classes. You learn how to make shades, secondary triads, tints, how to desaturate a color, complementary colors. So it's really endless. You learn about schemes like monochromatic, warm and cool colors. And then we learn about dominance, contrast, and Itten's design contrast or color contrast, like contrast of saturation, dull versus saturation. So this stuff might not mean anything to you now, but you will become color savvy if you take either of these courses. So I can't stress enough about it.
Which one is the more, you said both can be accommodated for beginners, but which one do you think is like a beginner one?
Beginners learn to use color. And then the color workout is also can be beginner, because if you haven't taken the other course, it'll make sense if we're working in contrast of saturation as our workout for the day. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to go over it. Mm. But to get to this point, you're going to have to know how to dull a color down, right? And I'll always talk about it, but it's just all practice. So I'm very passionate about this course. Is designed off of my graduate course, and I have all the materials, I have everything, and I even made it even better because I did more and more research and I read more and more books on color. So it's really like one of my favorite classes, and I can never get enough of it. So I hope you join me for one of those. They're both good. The learn to use colors, just like scratching the surface. It's a 4-week class. And then the abstract expressionist really gets a lot of buzz, because what we do is we learn about the 9th Street women. So there was Lee Krasner, and so there's men in here too. She and William de Kooning's wife. Their names are escaping me right now, but basically the gist of the course is you're going to learn. Oh, this is Race Hardigan. Oh no, Elaine de Kooning. Sorry. So you're going to learn how to paint in the style that these women painted in. You're going to learn a little bit of history about them, and about their art and how to do the techniques. I've researched the techniques. Joan Mitchell's one that we're going to study, and she actually has a show right now at the MoMA that I'm going to see tomorrow. I'm so excited. So So we study, we learn about their lives, we see video, and then I do a demonstration on techniques, and then you'll have to work in that style. And what's great about this class is that you might learn to paint like Helen Frankenthaler and love it. And maybe you're the next Helen Frankenthaler, right? So she painted with staining on raw canvas. So it's really a fun class. I've taught this once before, the 9th Street women, and then there's another one coming out that's the men. So we learn like Richard Diebenkorn and William de Kooning and Jackson Pollock. And splattering is harder than it looks. You can tell you that. So this book is my little Bible. So that's the abstract expressionist class. And then I teach abstracted landscapes and really learn how to simplify in this class and talk about color schemes. We do different times of the year, and the particular painting here on my desk is a snowscape that was entirely painted with a plastic bag. Okay, there was not one paintbrush was put on this. Okay, so I teach abstract techniques, and you'll learn about color and simplification. Here is the little studies that I did beforehand, and I planned out my color scheme, and I teach you how to do that. So you'll get a lot of mileage out of the class, because not only are you learning about atmospheric perspective, because we're painting atmosphere when we're painting landscapes, but also I throw in color theory, simplification, and then mixed media techniques. So it's an action-packed class. Okay.
Are the projects done on like larger pieces of paper, or is it smaller?
You can work in any size you want, but I always encourage people to go big or go home. It's so fun to work big. I don't know what it is, but I let my students work in whatever medium they want and whatever size they want, whatever you
I mean, that's ready to frame.
I know. Isn't it just really kind of dreamy?
It's so cool. Yeah.
So that's abstracted landscapes. And, you know, we did winter, we did a summer, there's different horizon lines, a high horizon line, a low horizon line. Now the composition workout there is so much to composition. I teach you how to use L's to kind of hone in on your work and what works and why, and you can change these configurations to be anything, you know, like maybe a tall, thin format or a small square. So we play with these a lot, and I made these myself, and you will too. So you just buy a frame and cut it up. This one I think was 8 by 10. So, and really sophisticated binder clips, right? Very sophisticated here. So in composition workout, you're going to learn so much. It's I always have slideshows, but like say for instance, workout of the day, we're going to study movement and counter movement, and we're going to work trying to achieve that. And we'll do smaller paintings because it's a workout, right? And those smaller paintings you may make bigger paintings out of. So perspective is a big thing. So this is, you know, a worm's eye view when you're looking down, or you're looking up. Worm's eye, the worm is on the ground. Let's see. Then there's tried and true tested formulaic compositions, like frame within a frame, right? So you'll learn some of those, and then how to unify. This one, unifying by using line. You're going to learn compositional forces, and one of them is the picture plane, middle ground, background, and foreground. You're going to learn how to do balance, right? Some of these are intuitive practices. So, and we do it as a class. I'll be like, is this balance? Everyone's like, no, you need to put another line in the lower right. Or, you know, we do a lot of it as a group. So it's really fun. And so that's composition. So important, so difficult, right? We all struggle with it. It's my lifelong struggle to get good at that.
I love these workout classes because it's like, you know, it's like really academic subjects, but fun and colorful. I think what's like, what's delayed me for taking these type of classes, like, oh, it just seems so boring.
Yeah.
And this, like, I just love how like dynamic, colorful, and hands-on these are.
Yeah, and the thing, Allie, about workouts is really, if you don't exercise your brain to think this way, you're never going to get good at it. You got it's like color is it seriously is a workout. You got to look at a color, know how to make it, right? And the more you do it, the more you know. I can look at a color, I know exactly what's in it. So that's the workout, that's the muscle. You're not going to get muscular if you don't work out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started taking a watercolor class, and it's so frustrating because my colors just are all over the place. Like,
yeah, it's hard, the watercolor, and there's glazing. And so why don't we parlay into talking about that?
yeah.
So I have a watercolor technique class in mixed media. So I teach you a lot of techniques in watercolor using mixed media to get certain effects. This whole piece was created with masking fluid and masking tape. And then a few others I'll show you just to tease you. We do this for 4 hours. It's really intense. Tissue paper as texture, right? So it's really, really beautiful.
That painting, oh, it's on tissue paper.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You put the tissue paper down, wax paper and plastic wrap. Beautiful texture. I teach you how to score. We already did masking fluid, putting matte medium down and then painting over it has beautiful effects. And so it goes on and on. Resist with a crayon and oil pastel. And so there's a million of these to go through. So it's really fun. And then you have these cards forever. I still use my cards before I paint. So I'm reminded what this awesome medium can do. And I want to, since we're talking about watercolor, paint your pet in watercolor is so fun. It's a short workshop. You don't have to know how to draw at all. You can use graphite tracing paper to transfer your image. It's on my supply list. I teach you how to do fur and whiskers. And the secret to that, I'm going to reveal it, is my stick. Okay, this stick is magic. I love it. That's how I do my whiskers and all my fine mark making here. So I teach how to do eyes and fur and hair and paws and all that kind of stuff. So, and you can't even believe how good these come out. It's amazing. So beginners welcome. Let's paint your pet. And then I have a workshop coming up next Saturday, the 25th. And it's decorative papers for collage. So we will not be using the jelly plate, but we're going to be using all different other mediums to create amazing papers. And I have a lot of techniques, and a lot of the stuff is just from around the house, like bubble wrap and wax and all kinds of fun things from around the house. So that one, I hope you join me next Saturday. And then I have another one where we alter 35mm photographs, and you do this with bleach. And basically you can add stuff to it after, like watercolor and scratching and stenciling and resist. So that is super fun. I don't have any samples right now.
And that can be done with old photo prints.
Yes.
We have like lying around from, I remember, I think it was like last year you did a workshop with this. And I remember there was like old like travel photos, maybe from Europe or Germany, and you'd scratched like some of the buildings and had laid color on it. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we all have them laying around. Like before I had kids, I just took pictures of buildings. I'm like, how dumb was that? So I pull all those and make them really exciting. And then I make them into cards, or I'll put them in my work too. So really fun. And you don't need a lot of supplies for that either. So that's a lot. And I do want to just demo some water media really quick, just so you can get an idea of my water mania class is just dabbling in all different kinds of media, and mainly watercolor. because that's what most people have. And you're going to also learn about color in this class as well, and composition and all kinds of ways to make your watercolors better. So I'm just going to show you a couple of water media that I have. This is gouache, and gouache is these are all water media. So water media means that once they're dry, they can be reactivated. Okay, this is my gorgeous palette.
Colleen, what brand of gouache do you like?
I have all different brands, so I'm not really partial.
Yeah.
Just depending on what color, but I think you can't go wrong with Winsor Newton, right? I really like their colors and the quality's good. So I'm going to go ahead and just put some, I'm going to spray my paper a little bit here. Get a little bit wet and get my brush wet. I'm going to go ahead and dig into this aqua, and I'm just going to get some, see what happens here. Just playing around. Normally, I really like to kind of lift my paper and let it flow, but I'm just playing around right now. And I've taped this down because it's such a large piece of paper. So I'm going to go into another kind of, I'm going to let this kind of join up with this guy. See what happens. So this is just, oh, and I like that spray I just got. So there's always a happy accident going on. So I'm just playing with the water and seeing what happens. So that's already looking so beautiful. I love when things join up, and we'll teach you how to manipulate it and when you can use different media. I'm going to just get a little bit more color down here before I do something else on top. Go ahead and spray this. I really like this periwinkle blue color. Get some of that in there. I have a bigger brush here. And I'm really interested in, like, when we paint, I'm interested in difference, how maybe this is different from, it's a little bit more transparent here. I'm using a very parallel stroke here. And then what happens when I agitate, right? So learning how to work your brush and all that plays a role. Now I got a little puddle here. So if I hadn't taped this down, I could pick up my paper and it would kind of roll around, but that's kind of cool to start. So that's gouache. I'm not going to use watercolor just now because I want to introduce you to other mediums. For right now, I have these liquid dyes. This one's made by Ranger, and you can spray and get really cool effects.
Oh, cool.
And how they interact with each other is also amazing. So I got some of that looks a little contrived. I like where it kind of went over some of this, so I'm going to hit that with some water. That one.
What's the weight of that paper, Colleen?
This is 140 pounds paper.
Is that the standard when it comes to working with, like, watercolor and gouache? Yeah.
Yeah, and this paper is a Fabriano, and it's hot pressed, so it has no ridges in it. And mainly I'm doing that right now because I've been working with this paper because I'm doing a 5-foot watercolor for a spa. So now I'm gonna do concentrated watercolors. These are so much fun to have. Watch what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop some of this in. You'll see it kind of spread. Put a little over here, and I'm going to hit that with some water. Kind of see what happens. Ooh, look at that.
Cool.
So this is concentrated watercolor, and it comes in this set that is really fun. You got a lot of really cool colors.
Colleen, I want to hang out in your studio.
Yeah, come over.
You have so much fun stuff.
Have that damn pandemic go away so you guys can all come over. I thought of doing that in some of my classes that are virtual, that I would have guests, because I think having a few people is okay. So if you ever want to come, Allie, just tell me.
I'm gonna check Google Maps now, see how long it takes me. The traffic should be light right now. I'll be there in an hour.
I'm gonna get some of this color and see how it interacts. This is like a dark turquoise, and I'm gonna hit that with water to see what happens. So now wait till you see this other stuff that I have. It's called Brusho. Oop. Crystal color. Okay, and wait till you see what happens. It's really cool. You know, and I'm painting abstractly right now, but you can do all these fun things with realism as well. So,
Colleen, I'm starting like I have like a Blick shopping cart of all of your recommendations.
so this is Brusho, and you'll see I had to make my own little holes in the top and for sprinkling, because I'm accident prone and I was so scared to drop this whole container. So what happens, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit here. Sometimes you get a good effect and other times you don't.
Cool.
So let me see what other color I can put. Here's a violet. Let's see what violet does. It depends on the water. It depends on a lot of things, but you get a really nice spread. And it just kind of reacts. Isn't that pretty?
So cool. So is it a pigmented powder?
Yeah, it's a pigmented watercolor.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and I took the stickers off the top when I made the holes, and so I could sprinkle.
I love the texture it makes too.
Yeah. So all of these are water media and they're all interacting, which is so fun. And my paper is curling, which happens. It's part of it. So I'm just getting rid of some of these reservoirs here. And then last but not least, I have played around with interacting with these pearlescent, they're liquid acrylic. The thing with these is I would probably dry this and then put these on top. I like it because you get this pearlescent, and it just kind of interacts a little bit differently because it's not water media, but it's liquid. Okay, so if that makes sense. But it really adds, because it's very different material than the others, it just adds a really nice effect, especially when it's dry. So I like to play with these. I have a bunch of different colors. In particular, what looks really nice on top is the white pearl. Oh, and I forgot to say also, one of the cool things I like to do is use rubbing alcohol and kind of see what effects I get. I'll put a little dot here and see. Get some nice
Oh, cool.
marks going on here. It can't be too wet, so you have to have the right time. Like this is the right wetness over here. So you get some really interesting marks. Let's try it over here and see what we get. Pushes paint away and it just creates really interesting effects. So that's alcohol. I do another one with bleach, but I usually let it dry first. So I'm gonna put some of this pearl on. I really like this area with the Brusho. It's so pretty. So we'll see what that does. So there's other things. There's India inks that are colored you can also use. There's dyes, like I have some RIT dyes. They create very interesting textures. So this course, this Water Mania, is going to be playing around with some of this stuff. You don't have to have all the techniques, because like I said, or I mean mediums, to be successful in this class. You'll learn a lot about water and controlling it and just really having fun.
So beautiful. You'll have to take a photo of it when it's dry and done.
Yeah, it really is pretty, isn't it? Just, so yeah, very fun to work with. So that's the water media.
Thank you, Colleen.
Yeah, so I think I might have covered them all.
I think you did. And we will have all the workshops and the classes onto PAL's website today, tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, so you're teaching basically all this fall. I think your classes start next week. Not all of them, like some of them start next week or the following week, and then go through October and November.
Yeah, they end right before Thanksgiving, and the first workshop is Saturday, the 25th. So. Yeah.
Will you be doing like, are you taking time off in December?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have some workshops. The ornament painting.
Oh, yes.
Ornaments in watercolor will be similar to the pet layout where, you know, you can trace, and I'll teach you how to do like shiny objects. It's very fun.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen.
Thank you.
Love having you back and love having your classes. And I think you're going to see me at one of your workout classes.
Yay.
We all start at color.
Yay. I look forward to that.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. All right. Thank you, Colleen.
Thanks for having me. Bye.